Empress of the Dead.
I've not forgotten our last encounter at the Sky Temple.
How are your scars healing?
Fight!
The cycle of games that Netherrealm Studios has been engaging in for the past many years has been a very satisfying routine. It's produced great Mortal Kombat games and great Injustice games that pit characters from the DC universe against one another. Given that, Injustice 2 and Mortal Kombat 11 have more or less demonstrated a peak for both franchises in terms of depth of gameplay, as well as other aspects of play being extremely fine-tuned. Before we go ahead, a quick request. We upload new videos every single day, and your subscription matters a lot. So, please consider subscribing and enabling all notifications by clicking the bell icon. With that out of the way, let's begin. Perhaps it doesn't serve as much of a shock to some that the next game they're working on might not be in either franchise. Reports are starting to circulate that Netherrealm Studios' next fighting game might be neither Mortal Kombat nor Injustice. But even more interestingly, the game might take place in the Marvel Universe. There's a lot of reasons why this new slew of rumors about the upcoming Netherrealm Studios project is totally believable and makes a lot of sense in a lot of different ways. First and foremost, as I previously mentioned, Mortal Kombat 11 and Injustice 2 are about as perfect as you can get with what those franchises have been building up to in recent years. That, of course, doesn't mean they're flawless, but it does mean that they're more or less at an apex. There's really not much left for those games to do other than just make lateral changes for subsequent sequels for the sake of making changes. And with so many other things out there that would make excellent fighting game ideas for Netherrealm Studios to work on, why even do that? Why not broaden their horizons and make something from a different universe before things start to get stale? Well, it seems that Netherrealm has gotten the memo on that, and they are moving to the Marvel Universe, at least according to these rumors. One could certainly go off the rails imagining what characters could be brought into this game, with Netherrealm clearly demonstrating a propensity to build out character rosters with DLC and sequels, and the Marvel Universe being as gargantuan as it is, full of lively, interesting characters. It would make more than enough sense for this to be their next game. Plus, many of the gameplay ideas that they have in Injustice, like upgradable armor and swappable costumes, would fit perfectly well with Marvel characters, so they wouldn't have to really reinvent the wheel on that. They could literally just take the format they've been using with Injustice games and plop Marvel characters in, and most people would probably be happy with that. Given that their recent games have been so good, there's really not a whole lot of overhauling that needs to happen right now.
If Scorpion doesn't kill us, his traps will. Find a way to shut them down.
Let's see whose fire burns hotter.
Fight!
Another reason that this rumor is probably true is it just makes perfect sense as a logical step up for Netherrealm Studios. Think about it. What would really make sense for them to do after things as popular as Mortal Kombat and DC characters? Is there really any other universe other than Marvel that they can make a fighting game about that wouldn't feel like a step down? Given that Netherrealm and Warner Brothers are surely looking to make as much money as possible in the next couple of years, why would they do anything other than Marvel? The Marvel Universe is ridiculously popular, and it will continue to be so for many years to come. So striking now while the iron is hot makes more than enough sense for a game like this to be the next thing that they're working on. There is certainly plenty of IP out there that Netherrealm would be more than qualified to make a fighting game about, and would be amazing. Star Wars certainly comes to mind, as does perhaps Final Fantasy or the world of Mega Man characters. I could also see them working on another crossover game similar to what we got from the Mortal Kombat and DC game from 2008. Or more retro franchises like He-Man or Skeleton Warriors. But at the end of the day, what really does seem to make the most sense is the Marvel Universe. It's really the most logical step forward for them as the undisputed champion of 3D fighting games that they are. The other side of the coin is that it makes just as much sense for the Marvel Universe to have a fighting game. Sure, the Marvel vs. Capcom games are out there and they are fantastic, but it makes all the sense in the world for the keepers of that IP to want out there, making money and generating more interest for the movies and other properties within the Marvel Universe. And if they are going to have a fighting game made, who else would fit as the ideal team to do it other than Netherrealm? Plenty of teams out there could surely handle it, but few have even close to the reputation that Netherrealm has at this point. So it really is a match that works out for all parties involved, including us. An extension of this rumor is the popular interpretation of it that it's not going to just be a Marvel game, but it could also be a crossover between the Marvel and DC universes. This would also make a lot of sense for a lot of the same reasons that I've outlined for a standalone Marvel game, but it also has the additional benefit of making sense in that the next game in line for Netherrealm's cycle is a DC game. For the past decade, they've largely stuck to the cycle of putting out a Mortal Kombat game or an Injustice game every 2 years. Each game gets 4 years in the oven before it comes out, but we as players get a game from them every 2 years. Their last game was Mortal Kombat 11, so next in line is DC, presumably. While I'm not quite ready to bet the farm on that, I do think it wouldn't be super surprising to see this come to pass. As I touched on earlier, this developer is no stranger to crossover games, and they certainly know how to do it while integrating a good amount of time with different characters from different universes throughout its campaign, with neither side of the crossover feeling underutilized. Whatever Netherrealm Studios is working on, we can definitely take comfort in knowing that it will be polished, fun, and well made. There are certainly gripes to be had about any game from Netherrealm Studios, or any game at all for that matter, but there's no denying that Netherrealm Studios is at the top of their game right now, so letting them take the reins of the Marvel Universe in the form of a crossover or a standalone fighting game makes all the sense in the world. But again, whatever their next game is, we can rest easy knowing that it will certainly be worth keeping an eye on.
I'll not inherit your cruelty.
That's all for now. If you enjoy what you saw, please hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, now is a great time to subscribe. We upload brand new videos every single day. After subscribing, don't forget to enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time, right here on Gaming Bolt.